All right. All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna, and you don't know already. I pray you are having an awesome day. We're about to get into this, Marcus, but let's back up, give you some time to come on in. All right. You don't know already we're there. So, welcome to the conversation, everyone. We are about to get into this Marcus and Amy saga. And then in the next episode, I'm already planning, we're going to have to back up. Yeah, voice is doing a little better today, artists. I had to take a little rest, rest the vocals on thing. But after this, we're going to back up because by this time, Sir Honorable Marcus Garvey is in America, right? But not in this episode. In the episode after, Fever, welcome to the conversation. We're gonna backtrack because sometimes we could get off course, right? So he had something that he was doing in Jamaica, something he was raising funds about in Jamaica, the very reason he came to America. And I think in coming to America, it kind of went off course. Much like his relationship with Amy. You like that segue, right? So let's get back into the relationship with Amy, and we're going to revisit that whole conversation about the transition between why he came to America and how and why he ended up staying at another time. So welcome, Madonna. My water close already, and we're about to get into it. So the last time we left off, and thanks, I forgot who said it in the comment section. They're like, Amuna, it's Cumberbatch. It was late, y'all. I was calling Holmesy Alan Cumberbatch. They're like, yo, it's Cumberbatch. I was like, yo, you right, you got that. It's Alan Cumberbatch and not Alan Cumberpatch. And sit with me on this light and these words today, All right. So we are coming from Amy Ashwood Garvey, the book by Toni Morrison. Sharon, welcome to the conversation. So let me catch us up. So the last time we saw Mr. Marcus, he went in kind of an oath, kind of that he and Amy were going to marry. And it was dramatic and they were engaged, but her father takes her to Panama. And some way, somehow, her father leaves her and she falls into a destitute state in Panama. And something is going on with her mother, so she's there by herself. And she now is writing to Marcus. And for 2 years, because she gets there in 1915, they said, or the latter part of 15, 16, early part of 16. And so after a few letters of corresponding, according to the narrative, she stopped hearing from him. So she didn't know what happened to Marcus, according to the story. And all of her letters are not being opened, this, that, and the third. And she hears, according to the story, Marcus hears that something happened to Amy, and Amy hears something happened to Marcus. So Amy said, all right, I don't know what going. So Amy, Mr. I was going to call him Cumberbatch again, Mr. Cumberbatch, sleek, debonair, well tailored down, look good and thing. It says, and I'm going to go back and read it, and then we're going to come forward for those who need a little catch up on the storyline, It says here that Amy, hold on, I'm going to try to get it. They had a relationship in 1918 between Amy and Alan because she didn't know what was going on with Sir Marcus. Hold on there. Where is it? She wrote him letters. All right, I can't find the exact one. We have a different part where I try to pick up from. But nonetheless, she is in a relationship with him. I'm not going to get off track so early. She then, I don't know how, being in a relationship with Cumberbatch, that Amy wants now, somehow, some way, she gets Marcus's details. Because remember, Marcus is traveling all over the United States when he gets here, because by the time he gets here, which we're going to read at another time, Booker T, who he was in correspondence with, had passed, right? And so he took it upon himself to kind of globe trotting and go all across the country and kind of do his thing in Harlem, right? So she finally gets connects to where he is, and she starts writing him. This part was kind of funny. I'm not gonna go over the whole thing, but y'all can check it out. She have the whole wish list off of Amazon. She telling him she want boots and she want clothes and stocking and a hat and her hip is 36, 26, 42, right? She want a suit, she want everything. Nonetheless, she tell Marcus, say, boy, here now, you have to go send for me, you know. So Marcus ends up, I don't know if it's Marcus, but she ends up being able to travel, and she gets passage to America. She told immigration that she was going to see her father, but 3 days later, she ends up in Harlem. And that's where we are right now. And if you missed all of that in detail, definitely check out the other video before this. Oh, snap. I didn't put the, what is this? Episode 10? Hold on there. I'll fix it afterwards. I think this is episode 10. All right. So page 36. Amy Jacquees Garvey, or I heard it's Jakes, which is Amy number 2, or that mega caller, who became Garvey's second wife in 1922, tight timeline, has suggested that Amy Ashwood's appearance in New York came much to the surprise of Marcus Garvey, who had not heard from her or about her for years. First of all, let me continue. Surprise or not, if Amy Ashwood's own unpublished biography is to be believed, Marcus lost no time in proposing to her once more. Because they never broke up, right? She was still in contact with Alan Cumberbatch, and perhaps his influence may have seen between the lines in Amy's alleged reaction to Marcus's new proposal. Marcus, she wrote, needed to be all-important one in my life, no matter what other friends I might have. A friend shall call Cumberbatch. She therefore decided to be cautious this time around. I pointed out to Marcus, she says, that the true aim of our alliance was to build up UNIA. And that's why we're going to have to go, like, what was the initial thing that you guys were trying to achieve? And did it deviate in any way, right? Or was he on track? It says, still presumably under the influence of the dapper Cumberbatch, she furthermore placed Marcus on 6 months probation. I think I read this last time. As it were, to improve his personal appearance and habits and not be neglectful of the graces of life. Marcus, she reported, was somewhat indigent over her attitude. Sorry, indignant. I was like, he was indigent later on, but indignant over her attitude, which was hardly surprising. So Marcus is like, oh, what y'all talk about? I can't talk about y'all gonna put man past 6 months probation. Anywho, it goes on to say, in her, I read this already. Hold on. Because they're saying in the affidavit, she told Marcus about Cumberbatch, and then Marcus told her basically that they had to break it off. And then when she got jealous of Marcus' interaction with other women, she started writing to Cumberbatch and leaving his letters out so Marcus can get jealous, right? So fast forward. They also was visiting at that time Madam C.J. Walker, who lived in New York, right? So they were in circles. Let's just say they were in circles of people who had that they had that money back in the day. Okay. So let me go forward here. Hold on. Okay. In their innocence of legal regulations, Marcus and his associates began collecting money for the Black Star Line before the company was formally incorporated. For they were summoned before Edwin P. Kilroy, an assistant district attorney for New York, even before this. However, Amy claimed to have been summoned to Kilroy's office a total of 17 times. Because put the cart before the horse. Do you even have papers right now, Marcus? Do you have papers? Like, did you come on a visitor visa? Like, how did you strike up a whole business? Perhaps because of her control of organization finances, she was the one singled out for the official attention. At this early stage, she said, the district attorney manifested no overt interest in the rest of the UNIA membership, not even in Marcus himself. Kilroy professed to be concerned because the UNIA was raising funds for what he perceived to be a non existent Back to Africa movement. Did he call it a non existent Back to Africa movement? Marcus was himself summoned to Kilroy's office in due course, and relations between the two men deteriorated rapidly. Amy was in the UNIA office the evening in June 1919 when three policemen came to arrest Marcus on a charge of criminal libel brought by Kilroy. So our problems know, So their relationship, because we're still on their relationship part, but as you can see, she's saying, oh no, we're just gonna work on the part that brought us together, right? And we're gonna put the relationship, the romantic stuff on the back burner. And she is intricately woven into the fabric of UNIA and witnessing a lot of this stuff, right? This was in response to an article in the Negro World in which Marcus had fulminated against Kilroy's frequent harassment. Amy said she persuaded the officers to wait for an hour while Garvey finished a Negro World editorial. Then the party of five walked to the subway with the officers obtrusively a few paces behind Amy and Marcus. Marcus was incarcerated in the Tombs prison, not for the last time, unfortunately, and Amy contacted the UNIA attorney, Jamaican-born James S. Watson. So it didn't come without struggle. Them just lock up Marcus because but Marcus been beefing with people in the paper, as we read, as he was going back and forth with the people in the Gleaner. Amy also hurried to a police station to request permission to attend night court and to apply bail. Marcus's trouble with Kilroy had a near fatal sequel in October 1919. So a few months later, right? When Marcus narrowly escaped death at the hands of a would-be assassin, one George Tyler. Who did hear about this? No problem, Queenie, no problem. Welcome to the conversation. Who heard about this? Tyler announced that he had been sent by Kilroy. And he heard the name to know. And Kilroy himself later admitted that Tyler was the only person he had been able to find willing to testify against Marcus in his abortive effort to charge Marcus with fraud. So it's not the first time them try to scrape off that Sir Marcus, but it may be the way in which he dropped in at a place. He made a lot of enemies very early on. Let me see here. Tyler fired several shots at Garvey. Some went wild, but Marcus was hit. Superficially, it turned out, which is interesting because that parallels to, yes, he was a real Jamaican for true. That parallels to what happened to Nesta, right? It says here, because of his activities, somebody scraped after him. Same thing with Marcus, right? Who precedes Nesta. So it says here, superficially, it turned out once in the head and 3 times in the leg. Amy presented herself as the heroine of this act. So Amy was there. It says her desk in the UNI office was close to Garvey's, and she was able, she said, to interpose herself between Tyler and Garvey. Dang, Amy, I saw you did love Garvey. Me think you did love Comba Patch. Amy ready for fling herself for love. It says, risking death or serious injury in the process. Her role in this incident has generated much controversy over the years. Amy Jakes denied her heroinic. Amy number 2. So Amy number 2 is like, nothing Augusta. I'm wondering, Amy, were you there? You could have been. I'm just saying, were you there? So Amy number 2 said, nothing Augusta. Amy Ashwood herself described the incident in some detail in her unpublished manuscript she wrote. Somebody needs to just go ahead and publish Amy's manuscript because y'all are stressing me. All this unpublished manuscript business. It says Tyler pulled a gun and pointed it threateningly at Marcus, who showed no fear. Watch out, bad man from Boya. Bad man from Boya. Instead, he became more angry with the insolent fella and then went forward to show him out of the room. Hey, boy, come out here. Okay, Marcus. Okay. I said, oh, that boy, I come run up in my office. Move. I got up in the great alarm and rushed in between the two of them. The next thing I remember was a flash, she said. Shots, bullets hitting the wall. Not knowing what had really happened, she said she turned in fury upon the villain of the piece. She had a vague notion that Marcus had fallen down. What is Bonnie and Clyde? When them said them the name again, Napoleon and Josephine. No, sir, Bonnie and Clyde, this one. The crazy chap now faced me with his gun, she says, and fired, but there was only a dull click. Fortunately for her, the ammunition was spent. She remembers leaping then upon her the assailant. They crashed together and finally landed out. What? Amy says she attacked the assailant. Yo, I can't, son. What year is this? 1990. And I'm my granny born 1919, you know. This is interesting. 1919. Ah, an interesting year, eh? I had a vague notion that Marcus had fallen down. The crazy chap now faced with, oh, Marie, that already. She said we were still fighting like wild cats. Down the steps we rolled in our fury out onto the 135th Street pavement. What? Amy says she fling herself for love. What? Come. When I say, boy, I say anyone willing to put their body in front of a gun for her man can't stay that she didn't love him. Yeah, that's crazy. That's interesting. Interesting. Artist, yeah, he may have been a bad businessman. I think he was good with, speaking and charisma, but as it relates to managing things, that may not have been his forte. It may not have been his forte. Yeah, I think Jamaicans, T says, I wonder how Jamaicans stand up for what they believe without endorsement, yet they just let some things slide. I guess some things, and then another thing, I don't know. In this particular case, again, next time we're going to read what they were supposed to be standing up for, what they were supposed to be doing before they got here. Right? Right. There's a lot of similarities in this story, right? It says here, Amy Ashwood's affidavit, sworn to a mere 10 months after this event, diverges but little from the later recollections of her manuscript, though it seems to suggest that only one shot was fired. Welcome to those who just joined us. Whiskey Films, welcome. It was Marcus this time who gave widely conflicting accounts of the incident. Between Marcus and Amy, merciful Father, I can't get the story straight. They must say, no, man, I never 3-shot, man, a 2-shot, man, you know, remember. The two of them is a trip. It was marked, okay, it says here, on October 1919, just days after the attempted assassination, Marcus made a triumphant return to Liberty Hall for what the Negro world describes as the largest crowd of Negroes who ever assembled in a hall in New York City. Naja, welcome to the conversation. It says, nearly 3,000 were wedged and jammed into the hallways, aisles, side rooms, steps, and platforms, among other places. The crowd outside was even larger. Thousands crowded the sidewalk, street adjoining the building. Around every window and door, hundreds were clustered and hundreds left after trying in vain to get near the windows and the doors. They must say, and the Negro, I will write this in a Negro world. Like, yes, man, we said the place ram, tickets sell off, everybody come for here where Marcus I say. We get it, Marcus. The place was packed. The Negro world estimated that fully 10,000. Did you have a license to the gathering of 10,000 people? But I'll continue. Tried to get into Liberty Hall that night. Garvey's recollection can be assumed to have been fresh at this point, nor did he have any reason to unnecessarily play down Amy's role. We don't know. They had some back troubles. Amy was furthermore in all likelihood in the audience. Marcus acknowledged Amy's help, though he seemed to bestow on Mrs. May Clark Roach, Associate Secretary of the UNIA New York local, the primary role in saving his life. No, he didn't. Did he just was like, yeah, him did that, but you know who really did help me? Miss Roach. Marcus. Yo, bro. Y'all was having trouble early, Marcus. That sounded a little shady. I don't know. It says here, that I am here tonight, he told the multitude, is due to the indomitable determination of Miss May Clark Roach, who stood between me and Tyler. Which one is it? After I fell, he says, from shooting and prevented him firing into his body again, Miss Amy Ashwood was behind me. But why would Miss Roach fling herself between you and the assailant? No, man, we don't know too much story this. This is your side, my side, Miss Roach side, and we don't know which are the truth then. It says, in an affidavit of September the 13th, 1920, filed as part of his matrimonial proceedings against Amy, problems no, Marcus completely rejected her account. She did not interpose her body between Tyler and myself, he said. This was consistent with his near contemporaneous recollections of a year earlier. This time, however, he claimed that Amy actually held his hand and coat at the top of the stairs, thereby providing the would-be assassin with a stationary target. It was Miss May Clark Roach who really saved his life. Trouble in paradise. He went along with Amy's story at the time, he exclaimed, because of their relationship. So Marcus, you say you tell lie because you and Amy did that and know that things don't look good again. You are gonna tell the truth? Yes, Fab Good Vibe says, I must have missed that part. Yes, he's saying there was an assassination attempt. That is historical. He got into a catch up with a man because the man kept coming to the office to investigate them because he was collecting funds, but I don't think he went through the proper channels to set up an organization. So the Mr. Kilroy man from the government kept harassing him. He was arrested and they were trying to get him on fraud charges. And so the book is asserting, and they're asserting, that Tyler was hired by Kilroy to try to take Marcus out. Okay. And so that day is what is being in contest. Right? That's what's being contested. Whether or not Amy is the one who saved his life or Miss Roach is the one who saved his life. But everybody's attesting that Tyler, this guy, came in and let off in the place. Exactly, artists. I don't know. Marcus said 10,000 people was trying to get into Liberty Hall. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's continue. Sorry. Yet Marcus came closer to Amy's accounts while under oath as his celebrated mail fraud trial in 1923. So Marcus' story keep getting confused. First he said, oh, I only said it because she was my jubby, but now that we are broke up, me I change my talk. And now 2 years later, me I gonna change my talk again. So him and Amy, and we're gonna read why him and Amy got beef already, because Amy did, while he was over here saving the nation, Amy was hollering at Mr. Allen Cumberpatch, okay? What I call him, Cumberpatch? Sorry, Cumberbatch. Sorry. I don't know why I want to call him Cumberpatch. Anyway, we could continue. Shot with there. Yet Marcus came closer. Me read that early. Tyler, he testified here, tumbled down the stairway from the top of the stairs down to the bottom of it. Miss Amy Ashwood and Miss Amy, so I think I Amy one and Amy two, Clark were there, and they tried to get between me and the man and tried to hold him so as to prevent him from shooting. Is he calling May Amy? I don't know. So they're saying, he's saying that the both of them in that last 1923 tried to get him between him and them. So, I mean, it is a traumatic experience, and maybe he doesn't recollect correctly because so much stuff is going on. I'm going to go ahead and give him that, because something traumatic of this nature happens. Maybe you don't remember everything because it's happening real time, right? So maybe he's misremembering. Hold on one second. Shout out to everybody who has just joined us. All right. Marcus' initial near contemporaneous recollections of the event before his matrimonial troubles gave him any motive to downplay Amy's action or to be given preference to both his and Amy's later accounts. It seems reasonable to suggest that Mrs. May Clark Roach played the more significant role in saving Garvey's life, but that Amy was also actively involved in the struggle to restrain and subdue Tyler. So two of them did it. Miss Roach interposed her body between Tyler and Garvey and Amy and also grappled with the culprit. Amy may also at some point have interposed between Tyler and the fallen Marcus. Tyler clearly tumbled down the stairs. Amy may or may not have tumbled with him. There is no doubt, however, that Amy did play some significant role in helping save Marcus's life that day. Bonnie and Clyde. She say, you nah take out. She jump in front. She and the next lady to save Marcus' life. It says here, who knew that? Anybody else? I see a few people saying they didn't know that happened, that there was an attempt on him. It says Tyler was taken away by the police and died from a mysterious alleged before he could testify. So they must say Tyler take himself out. But if Tyler was sent by the peoples, then yeah, it mysterious, yes. Ashwood and Clark, the latter a Barbadian, became the first recipients of the UNIA's Africa Cross as a reward for their gallantry. Oh, so I will name Clark. Oh, May Clark. Okay, so UNIA gave them a little like medal and thing, right? For her utter disregard of her own safety. Hey, Amy wrote in her affidavit describing herself in the third person. So Amy gets rewarded. And the heroism shown by her in preventing the fanatic from shooting a second shot and possibly taking out Marcos. She received the African Cross of Gold at a monster UNIA rally before 10,000 people at Madison Square Garden. Interesting. Wait, now we go see how Garvey returned the favor. At this time, they're not married yet, you know. They're not married to the latter part of 1919. So in October, they're already engaged. They engaged when they were younger, back in 1914, 1915. They get separated. He comes to America. She goes to Panama. They get reunited, and it feels so good. They get reunited, right? After their separation, and it's crazy, okay? So this is October, and if I'm not mistaken, they marry in December. So we're going to see what happens. Prior to July 1919, the New York UNIA held its indoor meetings at a variety of rented locations. On Sunday, July 27th, it held its first meeting at its own Liberty Hall, located at 138th Street in Harlem. Liberty Hall was a converted church building formerly housing the Metropolitan Baptist Church. So how it could hold that many people? And it was, come on now, Garvey, 10,000? I don't know. She said that she was the one that Marcus delegated to negotiate acquisition of the property with Metropolitan Reverend W.W. Brown. And she, I'm supposing that she is Amy Ashwood. As Marcus's closest companion, Amy was privy to glimpses into his inner being that perhaps no third party could obtain. After she saved his life, she win the jackpot. We're going to see. We're going to stay tuned. What did she get for helping to save his life? It says here, one such episode illustrates the depth of his identification with the suffering of his people. On February 17, 1919, she related she found Marcus at his desk, sobbing after having witnessed the parade of New York's African-American soldiers, the 369 infantry. Because guess what? When does World War I finish, right? And if you look at what's happening, a lot of the soldiers went out to fight. A whole nother story. I believe it started 1914, if I'm not mistaken, and ends 1918. 18, please correct me if I'm wrong. And so now they're getting a march in Harlem, right? For the African American soldiers of the 369 Infantry. And she's saying that she witnessed Marcus Abal, right? On their return from France at the end of World War One. The Harlem Hellfighters had fought in the French army because the United States would not accept its own black soldiers in any other role than as laborers. You know who else went to overseas? Norval. But Norval was too old to fight, though. Norval was too old to fight. But that's another story. Call me captain. We're going to continue. It says here, what shot me there? They had distinguished themselves and were heavily decorated by the French. So that is so curious. They're American. For One Love says it's juicy. Yeah, put your books up in the chat. The red, gold, and green hearts in the chat if you're enjoying this history lesson right here. This is deep. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so you and a similar thing happened with the Civil War. A lot of things happened with these wars and how certain men who were looking for work, looking to prove themselves, melanated men, ended up on certain sides of the battle, right? Like fighting for the North in hopes of freedom and XYZ. That's a whole another story for another day. But we shot with it on. It says here, they had distinguished themselves and were heavily decorated by the French. Their casualties had been substantial, however, and as in the case of their Caribbean counterparts, the British West Indies Regiment, their courage and sacrifice had lessened but little the discriminatory treatment meted out towards them both during and after the war. Marcus was overwhelmed by the vain sacrifices of these men. Before long, he would be telling his audience that any dying they did in the future must be to make Africa free. But as for me, he said, I think I have stopped. He said, dying for the white man. So Marcus see what going, and it hit him in him little Marcus' heart. So Amy, I say she get to see when enough people never see that Marcus had a sensitive side. But we already know him have a sensitive side because when she decide to break up with him, it never go well. So we already know. Some people would think man not have feelings. Man have feelings. Man have feelings. It's not surprising. It says here, apart from her post in the New York Local, Amy was also Garvey's official private secretary. Give thanks for the hearts. Private secretary. Me would make a joke, but me not make the joke. Me just agree. When the Black Star Line was incorporated in June 1919, she also became a director. She also handled and largely supervised the funds of the line, and she did for the UNIA, as she did for the UNIA. District Attorney Kilroy, I wonder if this is the sick night nurse. Yes, you do, LF. Only you are one can quench the shatters. I'm wondering if this is the probationary period where Marcus and she not really in on a romantic thing. Them not really dip on a romantic call. Right? Because she said 6 months she put him on probation. So I'm wondering if when she did come again? She came in 1918. I think it was October of 1918. I think that's what it said. So I think he might be off of probation. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. No, he could have come off of probation by April. No, right. She come to New York October of 1918. So I think he would have been off of probation by summertime. My girl said probation, you can't find help. It says, let me drink a little water. Y'all got jokes today. Boana said, did she get her teeth fixed? I don't know. I think she was trying to chop the line on that one. That was old school choppings. I think she was trying to chop the line like, yo, I need this, I need that, I need my teeth fixed. I think she was chopping the line. What y'all think? Y'all think Amy was chopping the line? She was like, Marcus, where you at? You got to send some money, Jed. Oh, it go. It says, so basically she over dealing with the money part, which is dangerous because do y'all have permission to be setting up shop right now? It says District Attorney Kilroy gave as part of his reason for harassing Garvey the fact that Amy refused his request for an examination of her books. So this Kilroy district attorney, every minute in their own, every minute in my bother them, right? The fact that hold on. Night nurse, only you are one private secretary. It says in New York, as in Jamaica, Amy's family participated actively in UNIA affairs. For when the Black Star Line first shipped the Yarmouth, known to Garveyites as the SS Frederick Douglass, sailed from New York on its maiden voyage in November 1919. Amongst its passengers was Amy's father, Michael Ashwood. Amy's brother, Michael Jr., later served as an officer for the line. I haven't done my cross-reference in a minute. I have to find out what happened to Amy's mother, because she went back to Jamaica and then now it's just the father and the brother. What happened to the mother? I guess that's how the women proved their love for the men they loved back then. Yeah, that was a lot of proving. That was a lot of proving right there. The way she flicked herself out. That was a lot right there. So it says here, she put herself in the line of fire, literally. It says here, as the fall of 1919 wore on, Amy and Marcus seemed poised on the brink of spectacular success. Remember, them I envisioned this thing from him did tell her to come at him first meeting at Orange Street in the hotel with the bed where he sometimes sleeping, you know. So this is a good almost 5 years later, and they finally seeing the maturation of the plans. It says the dream that they had dared to dream in those days, in Kingston days, 1914, was now all but reality. The Negro World was a successful year old. A UNIA restaurant had been in operation since 1918. So he has his own media, okay? He has his own food restaurant, okay? Later on, they say he has his own, not his personally, but empowering the people to become tailors and all of this black business in Harlem. Because we also have to remember, that's why I had got the other book, Harlem, the Harlem Renaissance. It's going into the Harlem Renaissance. After the war, money is flowing. The youth, them, which is their younger generation, they call them the lost generation, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure, because I don't want to lie now. They call them the lost generation. Yeah, that's the 1920s. Because they saw some stuff. The people coming back from war saw some stuff. And the youth them was like, forget this, we about to live it up. Right? So, yeah, the lost generation, they came into early adulthood during World War I. He's a little bit older than them, just a little bit, but this is the time. And the Harlem Renaissance is from, because we have to look at all of this in the backdrop of what's going on and why there's so many melanated people and Caribbean people in Harlem at this time. It's from 1918 they have to 1937, right? So and it dies down because we know that the Great Depression kicks in end of 1929, 1930, right? So the Harlem Renaissance is kicking in as Garvey comes in the beginning as this thing is taking off, right? All of this is important, but let's continue. It goes on to say, which I may know. So them have restaurant. The association had sent a lobbyist to the Paris Peace Conference of 1919. Them getting political. They're letting their voices be heard. Black Star Line now sailed the seas. UNIA branches were already established in Canada. So remember when Garvey did get stuck in London, you know, and he never had no money. And in third class, the man did have to come. Yeah, Harlem was booming. Everybody going to Harlem. He had to go third class to come back at Jamaica, you know. So for a few years later, to have your own Black Star Line that you and the people finance, sailing the blue seas, a big totem, you know he's on a high. You know what I mean? It says here, the Black Star Line now sailed the seas. UNIA branches were already established in Canada, the Caribbean, several cities in the United States and elsewhere. And Marcus was well on the way to becoming a world figure. News of his activities would now be found in the New York Times. So he was writing about himself until they started writing about him. So Marcus was the fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? He was like, yo, I'm not faking it. I'm calling it into existence. All right. It says here, it says that the New York Times reported that November 11th, 1918, he addressed 5,000 people. In the Caribbean, British and United States officials were already conspiring to curb his influence on the restless new Negroes. So them say, "Oh, that boy, yeah, where am I go? When think him I go?" Remember, by this time, money started flowing, because one of the first black female millionaire is who? Madam C.J. Walker. And where is she? In Harlem. And he's naming it and claiming it. He sure is. There's another book I have in here. If you haven't read it, it's a cool book. It talks about, I want to tell you, it talks about the first black millionaires. We shot my book there. I'm going to tell you the name in a second. You guys have probably seen it floating around. Hold on one second. Oh, see that. The name of the book is Black Fortunes, the story of the first 6 African Americans who escaped slavery and became millionaires, by Shamori Wills. And if I'm not mistaken, Madam C.J. Walker is also, of course, got to be in the book. You understand? So things are going. Things is going in. So let's continue here. Let's continue. All right. We shot with it now. All right. In such a heady atmosphere. Oh, wait, let me back up. So they got concerned that he was riling up the new Negroes of the post-war period because they had gone and seen different things, right? Neither occasional schemes within the movement or schisms within the movement, nor a hostile press in rival publications, nor Kilroy, nor the would-be assassin's bullet seemed capable of stemming the onward rush of the UNIA. In such a heady atmosphere, charged with success, thoughts could easily turn to love and marriage, and they did. So she's like, yo, I came to help with the movement. I believe in the movement. They working together. They reach a mountaintop, and they're like, yes, no time for marriage. It says Amy number 2 has suggested that Amy number 1 took advantage of the aftermath of the Tyler assassination attempt to press home her advantage. Why would Amy number 2 be so salty early on unless she had to? I don't understand why Amy number 2 in retrospect is so salty. It's giving high blood pressure right here. It's giving a little salt. But I'm going to continue. According to Amy number 2, while he was in Harlem Hospital, Amy Ashwood, a Jamaican friend from Panama, then secretary of the New York Local, removed his belongings from his furnished room to her flat. So Amy number 2 is saying that when he was in the hospital because he got the surface wounds, Amy number 1 went and got his things and moved her boo in. But that's not the first time, because when them they Jamaica, and she said the place you can't run the UNIA from the hotel room. He moved in on the other side and they split the house, right? So anyway, but I'm trying to figure out why early on it's feeling like Amy number 2 is upset. But let's continue. At the end of December, they were married. Right? Amy Ashwood said essentially the same thing in her 1920 affidavit. In the aftermath of the assassination attempt, she forgot all prior discord. Because remember, they was beefing. It wasn't smooth. because she go tell Marcus said, "Why, Marcus? When me think something did happen, me and old boy getting at things, you know." And Marcus claimed he forgave her. It says here. They forgot all prior discord, quote, and again their love steam flowed smoothly, or their love stream. You hear them that talk now? She stopped writing Alan Cumberbatch. I don't know about this Alan Cumberbatch figure, because if things was good, you with him, then why did you come to America? I don't know. That one ain't sitting with me. But let's continue. Her unpublished manuscript, here we go again, however, provided a highly embellished picture of Marcus as persevering but oft rejected suitor who had at long last earned the right to his lady's hand and could scarce longer be denied. She had said Marcus did have put her on pressure and she couldn't bother reject him no more, so she finally decided to marry him. Fever, give thanks. Y'all hit the like button on your way in. Okay. I don't know. Between Marcus and Amy, I think they're two peas in a pod. Let's continue. So we getting a quote out of what she said. It says, after this triumph, the launching of the Black Star Line Yarmouth, I could no longer deny that Marcus had made considerable progress. 6 months previously, he had proposed to me again. But I had delayed giving an answer until he had improved many of his personal habits. Remember, she said Marcus never to put himself together, and she never to like that, you know? Now, Marcus was full of confidence again and pressed his proposal of marriage. After the launching ceremony, I gave my answer. It was a yes. Yes, this is Amy number one. Amy number one is saying that after things popped off with the organization and after they committed to getting the Negro World, which is their paper, off the ground, and after they launched the Black Star Line and it was successful, they were excited because since 1914, they've been pushing towards empowering melanated people. They left Jamaica, they reunited in America, and he proposed to her, but she put him off. This is Amy number one. This is the year 1919. So she put him off and told him she didn't give him an answer. So according to her, Amy number one, this is Amy Ashwood who's on the screen. According to her, after everything started looking on the up and up, she gave him the answer, and the answer was yes, she had gonna marry him. About 6 weeks later, Napoleon and his Josephine were noisily married at Liberty Hall. And I forgot to pull up the picture, so let me get it. Hold on one second. So everything is going good. It's like it's a good year. What can make this year better? Ooh, let's get married. Let's get married. Marcus and Amy married. Hold on. It was a big thing. And they married on Christmas Day. So on the 25th of December, 1919, Marcus and Amy got married. Big thing. Right? Whenever I pull up my things, what me usually pull up my things, but we are going to continue. I think I had a picture of the marriage. Hold on. I had a picture. All right, we have to go do that again. We'll find it. I had a picture of it. I think I found it on my phone and not on the thing. But anywho, yeah, so they get married that day. Yeah, I heard that too. Artists that they kind of sailed and then docked further down. I heard something to that effect. We could definitely revisit that as well. So, which part me then now? About 10 days later, before the wedding, sorry, not later, 10 days before the wedding, Amy took care of a final important piece of business. She informed Alan Cumberbatch of her impending marriage at the UNIA Liberty Hall, which she herself labored so assiduously to establish. So she really a cut it off? No. Any thought, according to this, of she messing around with Cumberbatch was snipped because she go write him and say, "Dear Cumberbatch, Alan, it done. Me have to broke up with you because here what, and me and Marcus for life." Amy and Marcus was married on Christmas Day 1919 in a style befitting the head of the fastest growing African organization in the world. There were 500 formally invited guests from many parts of Garvey's far-flung empire, including overseas. 3,000 people actually attended the ceremony, with hundreds more, quote, clamoring, end quote, to get in. Five ministers of the gospel. Really, Garvey? Talk about being enough. Did Garvey hire five ministers, Jed? Five ministers of the gospel assisted at the ceremony. And how much vow no need for text off? Five? He says, and the newlyweds received about 3,500 worth of presents. Now, back in the day, this is 1919. How much? Well, I just want to say, how much is that to today's time? That's about $63,000 them getting a present. Back then, 3,500 with a purchasing power is 63,000, nearly $64,000 worth of presents. Enough presents them get. Okay? It says, according to one source, a private ceremony at New York Roman Catholic Church preceded the public extravaganza at Liberty Hall. You know, so the man a fly high, you know. Simultaneously, ceremonies were also staged at UNI branches around the world. But they had mock ceremonies. Chief bridesmaid at the wedding was Amy, number 2. Una fi stick a pin and take a note on that one. Amy, number 2, was one of the chief bridesmaids at the big wedding of our friend Amy, number 1. Amy, it says Amy Ashwood's best friend from Jamaica. So Amy, number 2, is Amy, number 1's best friend, according to reports from Jamaica. What are we doing? Because later, the thing gets saucy. The thing gets saucy. Let me read a little more. The honeymoon was spent in Canada, but for Marcus, the man with a mission, it had to be a working honeymoon. Come on, Marcus fam. It's called doing too much. You're doing the absolute most. So you finally get to Josephine. She take you off of probation. She save you from the shot. Uno Ghana, what the place name? Uno Ghana with Canada. And you have to work. So anyway, it says here, he used the occasion to sell Black Star Line stock in Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. 1919 ended with the couple 1 week into their Canadian honeymoon, seemingly a fitting climax to a storybook romance. And mark that word there, seemingly. How many people think this thing is gonna get bestie? Yeah, the bestie was over there making sure that the bestie was over there keeping an eye on the man. The bestie was over there keeping an eye on the man. So let's read a little more. Let me see where I'm at on time. So much stuff is coming out. You may see it in bits and pieces when you're watching documentaries, but this is the backstory. This is the backstory. I'm trying to see if any newspapers is going to give us the wedding picture. Yeah, I got jokes. I'm gonna go on to chapter 46 because we got a little time, right? We got a little time. And hold on 1 second. Let me see some Marcus Garvey wedding. Let me check this thing and see what going on at John shop. What is going on at John shop? No, I forgot to look up that. All right, cool. So now we're upon chapter 4, Eternal Triangles. Or, Amy, I will marry you if the baby is not even mine. What kind of conversation that? Yo, the author sure didn't know how to make you want to read this chapter. So, and why they have Amy number 2 at the top left of UNIA Beauties of 1921. So they vote later on, Amy number 2, she's there, right? And somehow, some way, she end up with our best friend, Mon. We're not gonna be able to read the whole thing, but make a go in it, no? Amy and Marcus returned to Harlem from their Canadian honeymoon around mid-January 1920, if we could call it that. On March the 6th, wait, this thing I skip, you know. Hold on, people. Because something popped up during the honeymoon. Let me jump into. Oh no, let's continue. So it says, on March the 6th, 1920, according to Marcus's recollection, he left Amy and effectively terminated the marriage. So not even 3 good months later, Marcus wants out. Remember, Marcus does not have the best uh, example of what a relationship is supposed to be because his father was so consumed with his quote unquote studies, and Marcus himself didn't get the approval or attention of his father, and his mother was left, you know, to deal with what the house. Marcus doesn't have the best example. And in 3 months, there's some people who want a relationship, but when they get it, they don't know how to sustain it. Want and sustaining is 2 different things. So in 3 months' time, Marcus wants to annul this thing. It says on July 15th, 1920, Marcus, through his attorney, Wilfred H. Smith of Harlem, initiated an action for annulment and divorce. Eh? Already, you ready for Josephine, for divorce Josephine already, Marcus? That quick, Marcus? You ready for divorce Josephine? Hmm? What happened? What went wrong? Hold on. What went wrong, Marcus? We're gonna find out. It says here, Marcus' complaint allegedly, firstly, that he had been induced into the marriage solely on the basis of 3 misrepresentations made by Amy. Induced, Marcus? Didn't you? First of all, Amy called it from the gate when she wanted to break up in Jamaica, but Marcus, according to the story, wanted to do the color purple. Me and you shall never part, Makidada. Okay, no mother, no father, no sister, no brother, no cow, no dog, no horse, no cat. Gonna separate us, right? So Marcus, you kind of did want her. Let me see. He says that he was induced. So let's hear his counts here. He says that he alleged that she, quote, falsely stated and represented that she did not indulge in the habit of drinking alcohol liquors to any extent whatsoever, and that she had wholly severed all relationship with Allen Cumberbatch of Panama City, and that all correspondence between her and said Cumberbatch had ceased and terminated. So Marcus is like, and I was like, why was this something? And then I remembered prohibition. Well, first of all, they were the women's movement, the temperance movement, was petitioning for prohibition for a long time. Prohibition, where the speakeasies start popping up because alcohol consumption is illegal, right? Because the women contested that the men were getting drunk, they were spending all their money at the bar, yeah, and that they were beating up the wife them when them come home. So by this time now, because this is why history important, because you have to cross reference. Why would this be such a big deal for Marcus if she had take a swig, right? But prohibition is said it was already in the works. Marcus is in a foreign land, and furthermore, prohibition starts 1920. It's like what how ganja was illegal. So let's read. The Prohibition era began in 1920 when the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which banned the manufacture, transportation, and sale of intoxicating liquors, went into effect with the passage of the Volstead Act. Despite the new legislation, prohibition was difficult to enforce. So Marcus is over here like, yo, we trying to do this, that, and that, uplifting black people. And she's, according to him, saying to her, she's saying, I'm good. I don't do that. It says, and remember, they're in Harlem where a lot of this stuff is going on. And he's trying to stay, well, by all appearances, on the straight and narrow. So to have somebody who you're now wed with, they're already looking at you, old boy, keep running up on you, trying to investigate you, right? And any little thing, this is what I'm thinking. Y'all let me know what y'all are thinking. Any little thing that they can get you on Kilroy, right? Kilroy got you in his scope. Any little thing or anybody associated with you that's doing something illegal, they could take you down, right? So that came to me when I was reading Marcus's complaints, because by 1920, it's illegal. And if they tried to get him on mail fraud, how much so for illegal possession of alcohol or whatever, sale and buying, and furthermore, Kilroy is also associated with Amy Garvey. That's just my thoughts on that. But let's continue. So he's saying she assured him that she and Cumberbatch, well, why we can't stop calling him Cumberbatch? She and Cumberbatch are no longer in any dealings, and she's not a lush, right? This is what he said that she said. It says here, as soon as the falsity of these representations became apparent, he terminated the relationship. I'm done with this, Amy. Can't do this. Since he had been induced into the marriage on the basis of fraud, Marcus sought to have the relationship annulled. Yeah, I agree, Buana. There was trouble when that shopping list. I think she was chopping the line, man. I think she was chopping the line on that one. She was like, she ain't had no teeth. How you got married? She ain't had no teeth. She ain't had no clothes. She was chopping the line. She was chopping the line. But let's continue. It says here, oh, shot with there. So Marcus added as a second separate and distinct cause of action, this time apparently for divorce rather than annulment, because if they, I think annulment goes up to 6 months. He may have gotten out the time frame. Hold on. Annulment, I think it's 6 months to a year time frame. It depends on whether the marriage is void or voidable. Couple months to a year. Okay. So he's going from annulment to divorce for whatever reason, right? For those who just joined us, welcome. We are knee deep right now. We're coming from Amy Ashwood Garvey, the book written by Tom Martin, and things is heating up in UNIA headquarters. Josephine and Arbo and Napoleon now get on good. Okay. Says here. Okay. Hold on for me 1 second. It's getting kind of rowdy in here, getting kind of rowdy. All right. It says here, this time apparently for divorce rather than annulment. Allegations of adultery with various and sundry persons whose names are unknown to the plaintiff in the city and county and state of New York and elsewhere. So Marcus said, Marcus accused Amy of being born, but in a hand on name. She accused him of getting born. He might say she had getting born, but him not have no name. Another major cause not mentioned in the complaint, but which emerged in the course of action, was Amy's alleged extravagance and dishonesty. She too liar, Anna. She lie and she give on and she drink at night time. I mean, I want it. Because remember, he's attracted to her in the beginning because she's vocal and she's among men. She's actually what is it called? She's actually debating men when he meets her when she's young. And he's drawn to that. But on the other side, Amy is nothing like Marcus's mother because Marcus's mother is meek, humble, and turns the other cheek, right? So he may be having this kind of what he knows versus what she is. He may be having this like moment of realization, like, hold up, fam, this ain't gonna work. It says here, the marriage was a mere 2 days old. How you only get to 2 days? And the honeymoon had not yet officially began when Amy's love for whiskey precipitated the first crisis. 2 days into the thing, big marriage, 8 minister, 100,000 people. You understand? And $60,000 worth of gift, and 2 days later, problems. It's saying Amy's love for whiskey precipitated the first crisis. As the newlyweds, remember now it's illegal now, 1920 it start, went through customs at the Toronto Railroad Station, a customs officer discovered a concealed bottle of whiskey in Amy's luggage. Amy was trying to get twisted. Maybe Amy really wanted Cumberbatch and she had to get twisted because she settled for Marcus. I mean, that's sad to say, but why would she do such a thing knowing the implications? There is always 3 sides to the story, I agree. But this thing look away. So anyway, my girl are bringing whiskey. Marcus knew nothing about it. That's like smuggling weed in today's time, right? Smuggling that stuff in today's time because it's illegal now, right? So it says here, Marcus knew nothing about it. Only intervention by his Toronto friend, Harold Watkis, saved him from arrest from smuggling alcohol. And again, I went over why he would be arrested because I don't know what's going on the Toronto side, but on the American side, it's illegal. So definitely check out Prohibition because this is an interesting time in America. It also made a lot of millionaires because they became bootleggers, but that's another story for another day. Interesting time in America. Right, she's smuggling it from America into Canada. So if it's 2 days, that means they didn't get to the other side yet, and she's bringing it from where she is going into their country. So according to the storyline, Marcus almost gets arrested. Mm-hmm. The incident caused Marcus great embarrassment. He said, in addition, Amy became inebriated several times during their stay in Canada. So I don't think Amy really married Marcus because what's going on, Amy? You're supposed to enjoy a little long-awaited romance, and you getting lushed up in Canada? According to the reports, allegedly. Back home in January, that sounds weird. That sounds weird grammatically, but me I go read it anyway. Back home in January 1920, Amy struck again as the Black Star Line attempted to take a cargo of whiskey to Cuba. Yo, son, smugglings. Driver. Yo, what in the world, Amy? Amy was trying to move that weight. What in the world? Was she trying to use the Black Star Line to smuggle lickies? Amy. Allegedly. Yo, who said history don't got something? People, anyway, let me just continue. To Cuba on the eve of prohibition in the United States. You hear that? So she knew what time it was, right? Amy now smuggled or caused to be smuggled a bottle of whiskey from the line's yarmouth. So she wasn't really moving weight. She looked like she wanted her own personal stash. She became drunk at home in the days that followed. I was very much put out with the defendant's conduct. So Garvey brings a case against her. Like, bro, this not gonna work. This is not gonna work. He was very much put out with the defendant's conduct, Garvey complained, which was calculated greatly to embarrass me and the Black Star Line, and could not forgive her for it. So Garvey is like, yo, Brethren, I stay in your country, try to stay in my name. That not gonna work, you know. That not going to work, Amy. We have to finish this off. It says the Cuban cargo was one of the first big breaks for the Black Star Line, obtained in the face of official hostility and media harassment, compounded by the unexplained disappearance of part of the cargo. This was clearly not the time for Garvey's wife to come under suspicion for alcohol abuse. Yeah, it's giving lush vibes. It's giving lush vibes. I felt that on an occasion like that, Garvey lamented, it was the duty of my wife to help me and not hinder me by the conduct of which she was guilty. If this is the case, I cannot wholly fault him because a lot of stuff is on the line. Garvey's allegations were supported by an affidavit from his Nigerian friend, Dr. D.D. Lewis of Montreal. Amy stayed at the Lewis residence in July of 1920. Lewis and his wife had reason to complain about her drinking, some of it in public, and her, quote, very loose and unbecoming attire. What kind of, what Amy did have on? What did Amy have on? Remember, Amy's coming from the Caribbean. So, I mean, sugar and rum is best friend. They body and bench. They hold hands. You understand what I'm saying? So, whatever happens, wherever she picks this habit up from, allegedly, her situation in Panama, what may have drove her to be now dependent on the bottle, we don't know. Because we do know that in Panama, she says she's destitute, her house burned down 2 times, 32 treat drop out, and she did one wish list from Timor or something, I don't know. So Amy already had a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. It says here, his friend testified that Amy did have on some slack clothes, basically. Very loose and unbecoming attire while on a veranda in public view. Amy was burning the system, Joe. While away in New York, Lewis said his wife wrote informing him that Amy had come to the house drunk and disheveled and appeared to have fallen down in the street. I'm going to stop right there because it's going to keep going. It's going to keep it. If you think it done, it's not done. I'm going to put my mark right there on stop because Amy is doing too much. There's a possibility that Amy didn't want to marry Marcus, but it's also a possibility that Mr. Cumberbatch, because if Mr. Cumberbatch wouldn't want to marry Amy back in Panama, she wouldn't have needed to come to New York. So somebody now taught the whole truth. Because why is she still writing him letters when now she's back in New York with her Napoleon? I'm going to drop the link real quick if you have anything to share from what we just learned. It was a lot. It was very engaging and very entertaining. And what did we learn? Our foreparents and ancestors were not perfect. They were not. It's not to tear anybody down, it's just to come to the realization that humanity is humanity and people are people, no matter when they were born. And for Amy's time, this was some slackness. A woman drinking in the way that Amy is alleged to have been drinking, interesting. Amy in a slack clothes, in a public purview, and word I get back for say Amy out of order. Oh, did I share the link? Yes, I did. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to go through this comment section real quick, and then I'm going to wind down. The same thing he married her for is not what he wanted. I agree. I agree, artist. I agree because I think, remember, in the beginning of Marcus's mini autobiography, he laments that his mother is too soft and that his mother really didn't stand up, and his mother, took certain beatings that he wished that she was something else. So I think the opposite was in Amy that attracted, because Amy is in a space of mixed company where in today's crowd, when I read old books, they call it promiscuous, but not in the way we call it today. It just means that you're in mixed company amongst men and women, right? And Amy is battling in this space at 18, 19 years old. Amy is debating men. We saw that in The Gleaner, right? That she's literally, and Marcus is, he in the back. Yes, Amy, Gwen, me Josephine. He's cheering her on. But when he becomes the person that she's battling, now, Amy, you got to pump your brakes, right? And so I think this is, like you said, it's the aspect of her that he wanted, but it's also the aspect of her that he couldn't handle. Now, what would have pushed her to this? I don't know. Like I said, if she and Cumberbatch were all in love, something had to have happened. Why she didn't just marry him? Why did you come back to the guy who, you already knew when you left, you had an out, that it wasn't going to work with you and him. And because he was too off the chain, right? You already knew that. So why would you go to New York and then marry and then not be prepared to be married? I think there's a lot of that backstory. I would really like to know where Amy's unpublished biography is, okay? Because I think even the authors are pick and choosing at this time. Let me see what else. I think, yeah, Amy is giving privilege, Trish. I think so. She is at this time educated in a way. She has opportunity. I think there may have been a disconnect when her mother goes back to Jamaica for her schooling, right? We don't know the full relationship between Amy's father and her, but it's giving, to me, if I was to use my understanding of how this stuff works, is giving some type of injury in this area emotionally, that she's now resorting to this type of behavior. Like, what were the effects of leaving her father in Panama and going back with her mother? How did her mother treat her when she was there? Because we know her mother, we read a little bit about it, that her mother wasn't necessarily accepting of the things that she was choosing to do, right? And she may have just had a little bit of rebelliousness in her. Do you understand me? I said there's a lot of stuff going on there. And so she may have needed, Marcus's passion may have drawn her towards him, but also repelled her, because if she's rebellious, then she's not going to want you to tame her necessarily. And so I think that these two they work well when it comes on to achieving their goal in the UNIA, but there's not enough give on either side for them to come to terms with how to deal in a relationship in a healthy manner. That's just listening to, he had unrealistic expectations, and I don't think she was really ready. She may have been looking at him to like let off money, give me this, give me that, and Marcus wasn't on that type of time. He was really over here trying to free the people, according to the narrative. Yeah, Amy was doing the absolute most. Amy was doing the absolute most. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. So, yo, Trish said, I don't know if I want to read this. Yo, me never hear that term in a long time. She called Amy Mashmo. I tell you, I think Amy was chopping the line, man. Amy, I don't know. How many teeth you said you was missing? I'm on should I look, yeah? I'm on should I look? All right, everybody. So that was maybe I don't know who got Amy on this liquor. I don't know if she did, but he says, Sharon. Sharon says, did he do these behaviors? Did she do it before the vows? Based on the fact that Marcus says he was induced, to me, leads me to believe she did have certain behaviors before, and this is why it says she cut off correspondence with Cumberbatch. See, I said it right this time. I keep on to call him something else. 10 days before, and that she was writing to him in to get Marcus jealous. So I think these behaviors were present before, but Marcus thought that they would have subsided once they got married. I see Artist has joined the conversation. Welcome to the discussion, Artist.
Hey, ooh, I don't know who say, she say, they say, they never said. This is a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
It is a whole lot. And I agreed there. I just saw the last comment with, I think, Sharon. She said that you didn't see this behavior before, which is like this man was wooing this woman, like you said, you
Mm-hmm.
know. uh, the way they were carrying on. Did you not see this before? See any kind
Mm-hmm.
of behavior? I don't know when this got started. I don't know if she went to Cayman or Panama, got carried
Right.
away, come back here. uh the behavior of talking about, I need money to get all 20 teeth pulled, or taking 20 teeth, okay, 20.
20. That was
Jesus.
excessive.
And that was excessive. And it's like, who you fooling? 20 teeth? Your mouth is must be
Yeah.
really bad. How would
Yeah.
somebody want to be up on you with 20 teeth messed up? But
Exactly.
anyway, but I think Marcus, I mean, he just see all of this. He just cut ties with anybody. He starts something, cut tie. He just have this
Mm-hmm.
bad man behavior that is just
Mm-hmm.
like, that's it. I'm not gonna put up with this. My daddy never did.
Right.
And it's that behavior. See, you don't stay in this too long. I'm gonna take you to court. I don't care. I want out.
Right. That's
So
what
I
I'm
mean,
getting.
I just think, this whole story here, again, I love it when you're reading these stories and the background on each individual is not just a name.
Right.
They're individual, they're people with issues, and you're
True,
just
true.
reading over the name, and all of a sudden you start to break it down and cross reference. And I think this is so powerful, just to such paint such a picture
Mm-hmm.
of what he went through, what he, all of that stuff. But I still say what I said originally: for somebody to come all the way from Jamaica to
Mm-hmm.
come to America to
Mm-hmm.
stir up and to bring up and to pull up,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, where's your king? Where's your, where's your leader? Who's representing you? Well, if no one's going to do it, I am.
Right.
And that's what my comment is about: the aristocrats. They're here, they have the money, but they really didn't do as much as he did. He came, he saw, and he tried to conquer, and he went far.
Yeah, I think, yeah, he did. He did. You cannot negate what he did. We're going to read again what he started off to do and then how it kind of
Exactly.
ended up. You
How
understand?
he
Because that's also important too. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, how he came from Jamaica with the idea of helping out Amy, and then see a cry and decided who he is because he's so well versed in reading and everything, to just jump right in the smack in the middle of it and almost become king of Harlem, which he probably was, the behavior. But yeah, until Hoover starts to watch and everything, I don't want to go too far, but
Right,
he
right.
did a lot, and I did appreciate that part of it. And I keep looking at it like, why couldn't somebody in America? He probably didn't even have any papers. I don't know how papers work
This is
back
what
then.
at that time he it's same similar. It seems similar in the sense of you come on a
A
visitor's visa,
visa.
right? And I'm wondering exactly, Garvey, how did you stay that long? You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
He
Like, what are
came
you
on a
doing?
visa and did all of this stuff, and somebody could have sent him home a long time ago, but I
Long
guess
time.
everybody was busy. But to do this, and when you see how he really, I mean, you're reading it, how he really brought all these black people together until this day, we're still reading and talking about him. That
Yeah.
is a powerful, that's a powerful move. That was a mighty powerful move. And, and just to be, bad business brought him down. But hey, that's
But
all
that's
I'm going to
also
say
to
for
show
now.
you
It's just
this.
an enjoyment for me right now.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable, but it's also, much like the story of Nesta. Nesta
Right.
Batalim, no, it's the cyclical nature of life and unresolved issues and things that happened in the family line before. He even in his recounting his little blurb of a history,
Mm-hmm.
he's looking at his father in a way as to say that his distance from his father's shortcomings only to fall into the same pit. You understand what I'm
Same
saying?
thing. Yep.
Because yeah, so sometimes we see our parents, grandparents, family unit, whoever, and we think, oh, this person is such and such, but you end up coming behind them and doing the same thing because you didn't learn the
You
lesson.
didn't learn anything different. Like
You
his
didn't learn the
father,
lesson.
may I fight
Right,
you over that? It's
right,
your award, but may I fight you over it?
right,
It's the
right,
same thing here. It's like I know no better. This is a picture of what I saw, and this is how I'm going to respond.
right. So
And
what do
yeah,
you think
you're
about
right.
Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch came over. I can just see him right now. You see them Harlem movie because he was a tailor, and they said how his closet was
The
full with
man
suit.
sharp.
He was. What's the character that what's his name played with the green face?
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
I
I know
forgot.
who you're talking about.
That
Yeah,
smooth operator, he
yeah.
is like, and I think
Cumberbatch
that's
sharp.
got Amy, the suits, the dressing, and coming from, I don't know what he looked like compared to Garvey. But yeah, that would have catch anyone's eye to see him all fancy like that. And no
Mm-hmm.
doubt selling his suits because he's wearing them to sell them and to
Mm-hmm.
get business, even though he didn't want to do tailor back in what, Barbados. They were
Right.
all coming to Panama and to start business, and here he goes, he still had to be a tailor. But yeah, I just think that they had something going on. But those long distance relationship, I don't know what you could be having going on and let it take 4 months to arrive and return. I don't know. But
But my thing is, I think something may have transpired, or like someone says, maybe he didn't want to get married because the way she started sending like the urgent letters now
yeah,
by 19, like, yo, Marcus, you gotta show up, you gotta da da da. To me, it's giving something fell through, and now Marcus is the fallback
exactly.
guy.
So he tried it with him and it didn't work, probably with
Possibly,
Cumber. Yeah,
possibly.
yeah, Cumber. Yeah,
Come, yeah,
my
Cumberbatch.
husband's generation. Yeah, she tried it with him. It didn't work, and she had to like go back to what she knew
What she knew,
and
yeah.
try to get something, give him the teeth, give me dress, give me this. What?
You
Like,
didn't
what did
you
you
didn't
leave
see the
me here doing?
measurements.
Making
My girl
millions?
said 20. What she said, 36, 26, 46. My
Right.
girl, like that. That's sweet, me.
It's like naive, but like okay, all right. So she said, I guess because he wooed her so much, she
Right,
believed
right.
she could do that because he was so in love with her. But he had his own tricks, I guess, because he wanted somebody, to be a part of this. But the way he threw himself at her and the way he portray, what do you call it, portrayize her, the poetry that he uses
Oh
on
yeah,
her,
yeah, yeah, yeah. They in
that
worship at the shrine of our something another. It's
like
like
she could
what?
do no wrong, so she's gonna go back and try to get whatever she can get to come back to him. So I
Right,
mean, they both got their thing, but it's just a thrill to just hear the love story, the drama, and
right.
like just what we're doing here tonight.
They're human. They're human.
Exactly,
Yeah,
but
they're
it's just
human.
like you're looking in the window of somebody else's business. It's like, okay,
And them
no,
right,
I know.
really, I'm looking for because they go. All of this comes out in the affidavits because it gets dirty after this. Because
There you
she's
go. The
like, I
truth
don't think
comes
so.
out now.
Yeah,
Your truth, my truth, and the
yeah,
truth.
everything I got come out in the affidavits. So stay tuned.
Yes, definitely, my love. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
All right.
All right, everyone. If anybody else wants to come on and share your thoughts, feel free to do so at this time. If not, I'm gonna wind down. Like artist said, this is why Marcus. So in meantime, but what he did do was keep his eyes on the prize, and he made his decision to me based on the reputation that he had built and what he was trying to do. That basically he was married to the movement, right? And Amy, although you were you helped at one point, now you're being a hindrance, so now you gotta go. Yeah, Cumberbatch. Yeah, so maybe Cumberbatch didn't want to marry. I think definitely for her to still keep writing him, for her to tell Marcus about him, um, to me, it's giving something didn't all the way go possibly according to plan. Or maybe Cumberbatch had beer woman, and Amy's just like one of the many who are run him down because the man sharp. You understand? And the man are doing thing. So that may be why it didn't work either. He may not have wanted to get married. So, with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we will come back again next time and learn more about Sir Marcus and the UNIA movement. All right, I'm going to go ahead and run this thing, and I'll see you guys next time. Yeah, this was a good read. I agree. This was a good read. Island Twist follows Jackie Brown, a young girl who finds herself head over heels for the new island boy at school in fresh outer yard, and Jackie has the fever. But as she navigates the ups and downs of her new crush, things quickly spiral out of control when her not so secret admirer becomes determined to sabotage her relationship. So check out the new novel Island Twist over on Amazon today. Now back to the story.